Great, YouTube. I've been watching Gopher playing Witcher 3, which is still a silly name. And in it, there's a character who has no eyes. And she's looking to get that taken care of. And yet, she uses transformation magic. She, in fact, at one point turns herself into an owl or something, I think. Which got me thinking about how D&D or Pathfinder handled that kind of thing. Now, if you're a druid with the wild shape ability, wild shaping does actually heal you of a minor amount of hit point damage. The justification being that you're literally knitting yourself back together when you make the transformation from one form to the other. And since yourself is not wounded, it moves you closer towards yourself in your unwounded state, even though you are wounded. And I think that makes a lot of sense. But it doesn't seem to remove conditions. It also opens up the idea, if you're a druid who has had their eyes plucked out and you transfer yourself into an animal, can you see? There's no reason in the world for you to make an animal form that doesn't have eyes. And when you turn back into your normal form and you healed some hit point damage, because you will, why don't you have eyes? But it also got me thinking about the transformation magic used in the arcane school, which doesn't heal you, because there has been a horrible, horrible fear of allowing arcane casters to have any form of healing. But it's no different when you're transforming from, if you're a druid going to an animal shape, or an elemental shape for that matter, which isn't even vaguely organic, back into a human or an elf or dwarf shape or whatever. And a wizard that's going into an orc or an odiug or a dragon or a giant or anything else back into their original form. You're still returning to yourself, and yet the arcane doesn't heal any damage in that process, while the transformation of the wild shape does. That's interesting. So why doesn't transformation magic heal you of conditions? Why don't you knit yourself back together with your eyes intact or your ears intact? Why do you knit yourself back into condition with a limb missing in the case that you've, befallen a sort of sharpness or something like that? Or if you're a warforged, you've befallen rusting grasp or something, and you've lost part of your body, why aren't you putting yourself back together when you're transforming from one thing to another? Now, is this just because they fear arcane healing? Is this because they just think that a condition should exist regardless, because that's the condition on the character as opposed to the body of the character? So that's a very meta concept. That condition is on your character sheet now. It isn't just on the character's, metaphysical, fictional body. It's now built into the DNA like your stats. But your stat damage can be healed over time, but your conditions don't tend to. I don't have an answer here. I'm curious. Why doesn't transformation magic, whether it's a wild shape or it's a polymorph object or whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to talk about, why doesn't that help alleviate hit point damage of any kind, but why doesn't it help alleviate conditions? Why isn't blindness or a missing limb or deafness cured when we use transformation magic? Inquiring minds want to know.